Let me be clear. I hold my standards high, and I do not, or never will, hedge on what is right. And I take my oath seriously. In reference to concealed carry and open carry, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office will not enforce this segment of the order. While I understand the urgency, the temporary ban challenges the foundations of our Constitution, but most importantly, it is unconstitutional. My oath was to protect the Constitution, and that is what I will do.
Tonight, there's a new ruling just in from a federal judge. He says the New Mexico governor is violating constitutional rights with a new ban on the right to publicly carry a firearm in New Mexico's largest city, Albuquerque.
In New Mexico, gun culture runs deep, so a temporary ban on where to carry them was bound to cause an uproar.
People are angry.
Mark Abramson is a gun shop owner.
I cannot fathom how this is anything other than an attention getter.
The judge's ruling halts Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's 30-day suspension, barring private citizens from carrying firearms on public property.
This video is brought to you by Save the Storks, brought to you by SaveTheStorks.org. Ladies and gentlemen, my favorite pro-life organization. I was the keynote speaker this year at their major event. What an incredible organization. But I want to tell you about one thing, maybe two things. The first thing is the medical mobile unit that they travel with. It's like an RV with medical equipment in it. And they pull it right up in front of Planned Parenthood or places where young women are going to travel and have an opportunity to see that there's an opportunity to opt out of going to Planned Parenthood. They get into the stork bus. They're able to take an ultrasound for free, and 3 out of 4 women that go in there decide to give life. And that's one of the major things that Save the Storks is doing, and that's why I'm a partner with Save the Storks. I want you to join me in giving every month. I give every month, and I give once at the end of the year. $34 or $32 is enough to secure or protect one woman. So you can give as God has purposed in your heart, but be a member today. Link is in the description section. You can join. Just join up, do $35 a month. My family do $100 a month because we really care and we put our money where our mouth is at. Save the Storks. Link is in the description section. Like, subscribe to the channel. Y'all know what to do. Let's get into this. Michelle Grisham from New Mexico. I don't understand how people vote for these individuals. Are they just tricking? Are they just tricking people and then they vote for them and then they get in office and be a totally different person? I don't know what it is. This fool attempted to violate the Constitution and people's constitutional rights and ban open carry, concealed carry, and not only just banning in government buildings, but banning on public areas, parks, schools, all of that. Even if you had a concealed carry permit. She wanted to ban it in all of those locations because there was an uptick of some children getting shot, probably in a drive-by or something. And she wanted to tell law-abiding citizens that you can't open carry or conceal carry. You have to put down your constitutional rights because some nut job ended up shooting and killing somebody that they shouldn't have.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license?
With one exception. And that is, if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms.
Let me be clear. I hold my standards high, and I do not, or never will, hedge on what is right. And I take my oath seriously. In reference to concealed carry and open carry, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office will not enforce this segment of the order. While I understand the urgency, the temporary ban challenges the foundations of our Constitution, but most importantly, it is unconstitutional. My oath was to protect the Constitution, and that is what I will do. The governor made it clear in her press conference. She knew we as law enforcement did not agree with the order, and as a result, this was solely her decision. Other than this ban being unconstitutional, here are other reasons why I will not enforce the order. One, what many forget, is I have enough violence here in Bernalillo County. I do not want to have political violence towards my deputies or here in Bernalillo County. My job is to keep the peace and to make sure that the citizens of Bernalillo County are safe, and I do not believe that this order will help me do so. I'm a law enforcement professional. This order will not do anything to curb gun violence other than punish law-abiding citizens from their constitutional right to self-defense. Let me give you a personal story. Last week, as I'm sitting here as the sitting sheriff, I get a phone call that my brother also was a victim of gun violence last week that many of you do not know. While he and my nephew were sitting in their car, they were shot at and their vehicle was impacted by numerous rounds. How can I, as a sheriff, tell him to put his firearms away and not be able to protect himself? I have a fact for you. Criminals do not follow the law or a public health order. Never seen it, we will never see criminals follow the law. Once again, this only punishes law-abiding citizens.
Now, let's put this in perspective, and I say this every time I get on the radio, but I got to repeat it because there's a lot of people that probably had never heard me talk before. Let's put this in perspective. So, criminals who don't give a F about going to prison for life for murder is somehow going to abide by a restriction that's not even constitutional, that you can't conceal or open carry in these areas, penalty of a $5,000 fine. Now think about this for a minute. If a thug ain't got nothing to lose, he's a convicted felon already, shouldn't have a gun in the first place, but he got it stolen. He run around with a gun trying to go after the ops, meaning people that are against him. He's trying to go after people that are against him, retaliate for a shooting that happened, or whatever the case may be. Homeboy got murder on his mind, or he got robbery on his mind. Do you think he was on his way and heard Brandon Tatum on the radio say not Gretchen Whitmer, they both cut from the same cloth, but Michelle Grisham, that she is not allowing you to open or conceal carry, and if you transport a firearm, you got to put it in a locked box and it's not accessible, that he heard me on the radio and said, Lord, I've sinned, and I'm going to put my gun, my stolen gun, that's already a crime that's more hefty in the court than this emergency order she put in. He's going to say, you know what, I know I've been convicted of robbing people in my past, and I'm a felon in possession of a stolen gun. You know what? I'm going to put my gun in a lockbox. And you know what? I was going to rob Shawty over there at the corner store. But you know what? I'm not doing that today because it's not right. Because the government said we can't carry a gun, conceal or open, and that's what I'm going to do when I rob him. I'm going to have to either conceal the gun or I'm going to open carry. And you know what the governor said? That I shouldn't be able to do that. You know what, Governor? I'm going to stop my life of crime today because you put that order in. You have saved my life and the person I was going to rob. That did not happen. That's never in the world. I would put my life on it. Not one criminal ever said that in the history of the world. They don't care. Now think about this for a minute. How many police officers are out there to enforce this law? Thank God the municipal police and I said municipal police. I think that's the right one. The municipal police and also the county said that they're not enforcing it. So just imagine and hypothetically, if they were enforcing it, there ain't enough cops to stop people from doing it anyway. There's like 1 or 2 cops per every 1,000 people. There ain't enough cops, man. People can be concealed, open carrying all they want. The cops ain't you'll never know. And let me tell you why after the break, why she decided to do this. And I'm telling you, these people have an agenda and they're not being honest with you. Hold the phone. You can call in 844-900-7243, 844-900-7243. The agenda is obvious to me, and I hope that it's obvious to you. Right after the break, I'm going to tell you exactly why I think these people are implementing these unconstitutional policies. This woman, Michelle Grisham from New Mexico, the reason that they're implementing these laws, they want to see how far they can go with you. They want to see how much of a coward you are and see how much you bend the knee to their totalitarian policies. There is no, listen, if you really was concerned about gun violence, you would hire more police officers, and you would be able to get the guns off of the streets. You'll be able to arrest these offenders so they're not reoffending with no consequences. You'll hold them accountable when they do offend. That's if you really cared. But they don't give a F. And they lie to the public and act like, oh, we're just going to implement some law. Some invisible. The laws that they implement is just like a restraining order. You understand a restraining order don't protect you. It only is there to hold a person accountable after they kill you. It's not a force field that somehow this restraining order is going to stop a bullet or stop a dude that had poor intent to come and hurt you. If anything, it may encourage them to want to come kill you if they get mad enough. Now, I'm not telling people not to get a restraining order. You just got to know your situation and the limitations. When I was a cop and I used to do the restraining orders and order protection for women, I used to say, get you a gun. I'm not patrolling by your house every day. If this dude decides to crack up on you, I'm probably not going to be close. You're going to have to defend yourself until I get here. The best thing for you to do is get you a weapon. Have a plan, have a weapon, and a course of action. Because if Ray get mad and he ain't got nothing to lose, he don't want to live no more, he going to come over here and kill you. And if I'm not down the street, you're going to be dead if you don't have nothing to defend yourself with. Now, I didn't say it in those terms, right? But I did encourage them to get firearms and get weapons and bear spray or whatever they felt that they felt comfortable protecting themselves with. Because that thing is just a piece of paper. Just like this particular constitutional order. It's like it's not going to stop criminals from doing nothing. Because you ain't going to catch them anyway. Not unless you're doing stop and frisk. You're not going to know if somebody carrying concealed. You're not going to know. It's not going to do anything. The killer's going to still be killers. And everybody with a connected brainstem, we understand that. And they just want to see how far you're willing to go, how far you're willing to comply. I did a video about this on my YouTube channel because the restrictions are not only concealed carry, open carry. They can actually, with this executive power, they can go and have compliance officers go and make sure all the gun stores are compliant. This is something new that they just add in there in this emergency order situation. They added a couple other things in there too. Like that was one of them. They have to report demographic information on the victims, and they have to report what caliber gun was used and all this other stuff. They're doing this for a purpose and a reason. They want to know what guns are being used. They want to know all of this other stuff so they can track it to you, and they can know how many guns are out there, and they can come get your guns. Because if they so happen to have a gun confiscation program, only the people that don't want to go to jail will participate. The people who are probably going to do some heinous with a crime they're not going to participate. They're just trying to find ways to thwart your constitutional rights. Because you give, and they'll make another excuse and another excuse and then another excuse, and then before you know it, you don't have a right to keep and bear arms. And that is a God-given right. The Constitution just observes, that the government observed that your God-given right is this, and that they shall not infringe. There's no, what does shall not infringe mean? And a lot of these dummies, like, there was restriction on free speech. There's restriction on... No, there ain't a restriction on you protecting yourself. You yelling a threat at somebody is not the same. You know, of course, you can't threaten people, right? And one may say that's the freedom of speech. No, you're threatening somebody else. You are interfering with their constitutional rights, right? You're threatening to take their life, their pursuit of happiness. You are doing things to infringe on another person's rights and freedoms when you threaten to kill them. Now, just you owning a gun is not it's not inherently wrong. And these dummies think the gun, they make restriction on the gun like the gun is finna do a crime by itself. You can't bring the gun here. Oh, like the gun is going to go travel there by themselves. It's like, look, man, you know, murder is against the law already. And people that do mass shootings, they don't care. And this whole concept of background checks. It's like, do you understand that people pass a background check, then they go nutty? I don't think there's a single shooting that occurred in America as of late, especially not the biggest, most massive mass shootings. No background check would have stopped any of those mass shootings. None. The kid in Uvalde passed the background check. He hadn't been diagnosed with being crazy. So they had no evidence that the kid was crazy. Now the person who sold him the ammo and stuff should have been like, yeah, you look like a serial killer. Let me not sell you this ammo, which you have the right to refuse service. But like, he would have passed the background check. The Virginia Tech guy would have passed the background check. The Mandalay Bay shooter would have he passed the background check. He had multiple guns. Like, all these people would have passed the background check. So what you're essentially doing is making it harder on the average person to get a gun. Because everybody's going to end up, all these people are going to end up passing the good and the bad. But the bad person can take a little bit of inconvenience to then go off and murder people like he wanted to in his manifesto. There needs to be a waiting period. They're just going to wait to kill you 30 days later. It's not like they're going to change their mind because it's a 30-day waiting period. Oh, I waited long enough. Now I changed my mind. No, they've been wanting to kill you for the last 3 years. And then you just add an extra 30 days to 3 years of them planning to kill you. That's nothing to them. They'll wait another 30 days to murder you and do a school shooting. This stuff, it just doesn't work, y'all. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't work. And they know it doesn't, and they still do it anyway. And people still vote for these idiots. I'm just flabbergasted. Anyway, I'm running out of time.